the story of this run to the title. Tsitsipas's first ever ATP 500 title. He's obviously won 250s and 1000s, but he had this weird record of never having won a 500. Well, he's broken that, and the story very much the fact that he's playing with a new racket, the exact identity of which is a source of much speculation, although my dad has done some expert analysis and confirms it's definitely a Babolat.
I heard the same thing.
Yeah, despite being... it's blacked out. I don't know whether he's still under contract with Wilson. If he is, I imagine they're pretty furious. Or whether he's just blacking it out because he's not being paid by Babolat, and why would he want to give them the free promo? Just talking about the final for a moment, I cannot help but mention the fact that I once worked with a pundit who shall remain nameless, but it was a while ago when Stefanos Tsitsipas and Felix Auger-Aliassime were both bursting onto the scene at the same time, and they were so exciting, weren't they? They were exciting. Everybody was looking for the next gen. They were OG next geners, weren't they? And everybody was desperately looking for the big three replacements. And I worked with a pundit who just casually and confidently predicted that these two would end up playing a minimum of 15 Grand Slam finals against one another. And Matt Roberts at the time called that as the worst bit of punditry he's ever heard. And time has proved you right, Matt. But they'll always have the Dubai ATP 500 final.
Yeah, I mean, for context, I think Navratilova and Evert played 12 major finals against each other. Like, 15 was...
It was a time when everybody was high on the next gen and desperate to find the replacements, just, you know, to give this nameless person some mitigation. But yes, it was a sign of the times, though, and those times are so different now. Nobody's saying, oh yeah, we're going to be seeing this matchup in Grand Slam, in any Grand Slam finals in years to come. Although maybe, Matt, with the new racket, this is a new Tsitsipas.
Well, I was very impressed with Tsitsipas this week, and I think you could really see the effects of the new racket, you know, in particular on the backhand. He just was able to hit through that shot so much flatter than he has been doing in the past, and I really noticed it on return. You know, there were times when Auger-Aliassime was hitting a good first serve into the Tsitsipas backhand, and over the last few years, that would have elicited quite a short backhand return reply that then would have allowed Auger-Aliassime to get on top of the rally. But time after time, Tsitsipas was just nailing these backhand returns deep and fast and hard and taking the initiative in the rally. And David's already thrown a Federer comparison out there in this pod, so maybe I'll do the same. It was a little bit reminiscent of when Federer went to the bigger frame on his racket on the backhand, and suddenly he was able to hit over that shot and inject pace into it, hit it flatter, and it became a real weapon. It wasn't as good as that, you know. Federer already had a better backhand and made it even more elite. It wasn't quite as extreme as that, but it was slightly reminiscent of that. And yes, so impressive. Everything just seemed to then click in his game as a result of that. He just seemed to have a lot more confidence generally, not having that weakness that he normally has. It just sort of accentuated the rest of his game. And yeah, really, really impressive. I think maybe the highest level he played all week was actually the semi-final against Griekspoor, where again his backhand was absolutely magnificent. So many winners off that shot in that match. And he also had to battle through against Berrettini. You know, he really displayed different qualities to win this title. Yeah, I was really, really impressed. The backhand was an absolute revelation. And look, he's back in the top 10 now, and he's got the clay season ahead of him, where even in his poor years, he's often had some big success on the clay. He must be feeling good heading into the clay just around the corner. And honestly, Tsitsipas playing at this sort of level is a little bit of a game changer for the very top of men's tennis, because he's shown that his absolute best is excellent. We know it is. He just hasn't really been able to find it for a few years now. But I just like that he's doing new things. He has done that. He's taken that difficult step of no longer working with his father, and he's taken a big step here of changing racket, which he says is trying to adapt to the balls and the court surfaces all changing. He's trying to sort of keep up with the times, and I do admire that. I think it's easy to just get sort of stuck in your ways, but he is trying some different things, and it's really paying off. And yeah, absolutely big for him. But as you said, tough scene for Wilson this year. I mean, because Madison Keys also abandoning the Wilson to go with the Yonex, and now Tsitsipas, who he still had the Wilson stencil on the string, so I think he must still be contracted with them. But as you said, obviously playing now with a Babolat blacked out, and yeah, it really did seem to make all the difference. I was very impressed with what I saw.
It must be a breach of contract to very obviously win a title with a different brand of racket. Like, obviously he's tried to black it out, and that is something that happens. It's not that unusual, but if you get busted, it must be a breach of contract. Like, Wilson must be absolutely furious.
Yeah. So, I mean, they've got a lot of rackets, and he's basically saying none of them are up to it for him.
Is that why, Matt, you've thrown them a bone with the Federer reference? Because obviously his before and after racket were both... He switched from one Wilson to a different Wilson, didn't he? There you go, Wilson.
Yeah. Wilson will always have Federer.
Yeah. And they need it.